his skin. I'm fascinated by the callers. There does seem to be, I listen to John in Ottawa and listen to Juan, a sense that they are prepared to pay a price. I'm not sure they're paying a price right now, but I think that they reflect something that is out there among Canadians. A lot of them are prepared to suffer, or say that they are anyway.
Should she suffer? All right, clap if you think she should suffer.
Did you hear that, Canadians? We want to suffer, according to CBC. So welcome back to the Freedom Pines podcast. I'm your host, Jamie B. This is where we discuss and debrief internet culture, pop culture, and politics from an independent perspective. So if that interests you, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get into the video, shall we? So Bob Russo says that he talked to Juan and John, believe it or not. I don't believe it. What are you talking about? Seriously? I was listening. This might be TMI, but in the morning I take my showers and I put on Moose on the Loose on my YouTube. And I'm sitting there in the shower and I'm saying, did he just say that he talked to Canadians and they were willing to suffer? And then I go back and watch the actual thing when I'm out of the shower so I can hear it properly. And I hear him say that he's talked to John and Juan in Toronto. Anybody else? Because, citing those two sources, John and Juan, to, make a huge claim that Canada is willing to suffer. You know how much we're already suffering? Okay? I am not kidding when I tell you guys that groceries are close to $600 for a big one. And then 200 plus, it might be up to 300 for the second week. So I get a big giant thing of groceries, okay? That's a lot out of my husband's paycheck. And you know what? Canadians haven't suffered enough. Crime is through the roof. We were forced to get a medication to maintain our livelihoods. We were locked in our home for the greater good, for, all of this suffering that we have done, I'm not even kidding you. The amount of Canadians who have gone through it and continue to go through it, none of us are willing. None of us are willing to struggle, okay? Because a lot of us can see that, if you're actually into environmentalism, by the way, you would want to maintain the relationship between America and us, because that's a lot less emissions to get something from America to Canada or Canada to America than it is to, get it from Hungary, Poland, all of these places, Ukraine, all of these places that, MarkCarney went to make some trade deals. Oh, okay. Number two, I don't agree with Donald Trump and everything that he does, but I also understand that he's not going to be in a few years. And I also don't think that because we don't like a leader of a country that we should just stop working with them, okay? I would say that Canada is under a dictatorship more than America is, but we will not go there, okay? I would also like to take the time today to say that I am really deeply sorry for the massacre that happened in America, okay? But what I will say about this situation, other than my deep condolences, is this is insane to me. It's the rhetoric and the language that the left seem to use around things like this, because every single time that the shooter is of a certain group and that group belongs to the left, they make excuses. Like they say things like, well, he's not trans. Okay, he's a white male, blah, blah, blah. Really? That's interesting, because all the time you guys tell us that even when we're talking about women who have been assaulted by men, that we must use the correct pronouns. So why all of a sudden in a scenario like this do we drop the ball on that? I would honestly love to know. And then, you know what? This mayor saying these things makes me absolutely sick to my stomach. We don't need thoughts and prayers, blah, blah, blah. First of all, the left doesn't send thoughts and prayers. It's only the right. The left cheers stuff like this on. If they're not making excuses for it, they are sincerely cheering it on, just like they did with the camp and all of those different things. And I will say that the only person that I ever worked with in my 7-year career. Wow, long time. No, it was 8 years. 8-year career. A teenager who was transitioning from female to male, took an opportunity where they knew that I was vulnerable because I was pregnant, and the girl I was with, they really didn't like. So they waited until it was just me and the girl that person didn't like, and they attacked them. Okay. And because this is not just something that we should just be doing. I am not kidding when I say we have done such a disservice to people who have the conditions of gender dysphoria and intersex, because those things actually exist. And now we have taken it and, like I've said, told everyone they can just do it. And these are serious medications that seriously need to be monitored by people. We cannot just be willy-nilly giving these things like testosterone. Testosterone is like, and then if you're taking estrogen, the hormones in that, the emotionality, it's a big deal. And I'm genuinely so concerned with the left who thinks that, these things as in these patterns aren't something to be concerned about, and haven't realized yet that the medical community is, allegedly taking advantage of them. In my opinion, that's what's happening. And, I believe online, I used to believe things like, oh, maybe they MK Ultra people into doing this, but with online and algorithms, I don't even know if they need that anymore, because they just know how to get young people fired up and get them going. How do I know? Because I was a young person getting fired up all the time. That's why I swore off politics for so long, because I was so incredibly sick and tired of them telling me things about Donald Trump in 2016, and I would get so mad about it, and then I would go and actually watch the clip, and it would be nothing like what he said. Okay. And then I was like, well, both of these people have photos with Epstein. Okay. Bill Clinton's infamous blue dress photo, and then all of the photos of Trump and Epstein. And I felt bad for America, because their two options were people who I have seen with Jeffrey Epstein. So, and for some reason we voted in someone with a connection to Epstein. Anyways. And what's funny is that I said to my husband a while ago that I think that this AI stuff is coming out so that if any videos do get released, they can just say it's AI. Isn't that funny when it comes to MarkCarney and Ghislaine Maxwell in that weird pool? Because there are real photos of Ghislaine Maxwell with MarkCarney at that festival, but the left always goes, you fall for AI. Some girl was like, I'm so glad that I moved from America because the leader of my country is a pervert, blah, 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 hanging out with Epstein. I'm like, oh, that's funny, because so does ours. And all of the comments were, you're so stupid. I can't believe you can't tell the difference between AI, blah, blah, blah. That's exactly what the bots say over and over and over again, that it's AI, blah, blah, blah. I literally shared the article. It's a BBC article, because even back then, we all knew what was going on with Jeffrey Epstein. And it was weird that the guy of the Bank of England was hanging out with Ghislaine Maxwell at a festival. Even back then, they recognized that as weird. That was the first time that they used AI to cover up and be able to say those photos are AI, just like I correctly predicted a couple years ago when I said to my husband, hey, this AI stuff is going to come out, and then people won't be able to tell what's real and what isn't when it comes to, I don't know, blackmail tapes of celebrities, or, photos of them with high profile convicted human traffickers. Okay. Despite there being no list, whatever. Okay. It is finally here. We are finally here where the left is like, you're so dumb for falling for those AI photos. No. There are AI photos, but there's real ones as well. And then I put the article and the link in the comments, and, they go dance around. That doesn't mean that he was doing the things that Trump was doing, blah, blah, blah. Of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't, because you voted him in, and you cannot handle the fact that you voted in someone exactly like Trump, the person that you say that you hate so dang much. And back to CBC for a minute, because the other day during PierrePoilievre's interview, they tried to say that crime was down a whole lot of percent, okay? I just need to know what they make, okay, that they are not impacted by crime. How privileged is the CBC's life, and why do they think that they represent anybody? I would love to go on the CBC and tell them why a multitude of Canadians just like me are not at all willing to suffer any longer. You guys have been asking us to suffer since 2020. You have been asking us to suffer since 2020. What do you guys not get about that? We've done enough suffering. We're done. We don't want this, okay? As somebody who actually struggles, okay, my husband works in a logging mill. This man puts his life at risk. He gets in a machine that strips the wood off of the logs, okay, the bark off of the trees. Gets into it to fix it. Do you think that he sees the money that he deserves on his paycheck? No. He puts his life at risk all the time. And for what? To only get paid for 50 to 60%? In any other time in history, that would literally be called slavery. And we are not people who care to pay a little bit of taxes off the top to, keep things going. But we're actually really sick and tired of paying almost our whole, half of our paycheck, okay, to not even get any social services. The only social service that I benefit from personally is, first of all, roads, but even then it's questionable. Roads, because what is the safety of our roads in Northern Ontario but absolute garbage, okay? Yeah. But we use school, okay? My kids go to school. I'm a stay-at-home mom, and when my kids have special needs, so when I go to school, I'm up here alone. People are like, why don't you homeschool? Because I would go crazy. Okay, I'm home alone. My kids, and we don't have reliable vehicles, okay? I homeschooled for the first little bit to get them caught up, and then they went to school, and I have a great relationship. I know how to be very involved in my kids' school career because of what I did for a living. So I'm pretty confident in my influence on my kids enough to send them to school. But that's what it feels like. Okay, I just got a call from Ontario Healthcare Connect, and it's been 3 years of being on this list, and we still don't have a doctor. I thought I had a doctor. They called me and told me that, and then that doctor has not called me whatsoever. So it's just very, very frustrating, because even when I did get sick, because you guys are like, well, how did you get that colonoscopy last year? Well, I went to a walk-in nurse place or whatever and paid $60. It's that $60 saved my life, since I had a tumor last year at this time, so big in my butt that I'm lucky to be alive today, you guys. Let's just say that. But I also will say that I should have had access to a doctor and been able to find out about this said tumor way before it was ever 20 centimeters. I'm sorry, is that not a whole foot-long sub in there? What do you mean that was in my... Anyways, so that's why I'm here. Because I'm not willing to suffer anymore, and I'm going to do, they've tried everything else. So here I am. Okay, it's the only job I can do, because you guys, my story, I had my dream job, and because I was coerced into something, I can't do it. I'm trying my best to not suffer. So no, if you guys take away my husband, if you guys think that people in the logging industry, especially in Northern Ontario, can handle this blow, we can't, and you need to shut up. Okay, if you are willing to go on CBC, by the way, and say that Juan and John told you that Canadians are willing to suffer, okay, how about you take all of your money and give it to us then? I'm not somebody who thinks that, but if you are telling us that we are willing to suffer, how about you take the blow off, okay? Because we're not willing to suffer. And all we're asking for is that our job sectors work so that we can work. We're not asking for freebies here, okay? We're asking to simply be able to work in the jobs that we've been working in, because Canada deserves, I don't know, a thriving economy, to be able to afford things, to not go through the next Great Depression. I don't know. What do you guys think? You let me know. Is CBC representing you? Are you agreeing with John and Juan? Okay. Oh, and where you are, is crime up or down? Because it's definitely even up in Temiskaming Shores. So I can't imagine where you live in society where there's no crime happening. I would love to know. So I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.